Hey guys, it's Dwight. I'm here in my car. I am in the parking lot at Michael's. I'm going to spend my Christmas gift cards on some painting supplies. I want to get a 36 by 36 canvas, and I want to do another dump and swirl type painting. And as a side note, I'm trying to think of a new name as opposed to dump and swirl. I came up with one called like the blackout swirl or blackout pour. But I don't know, because I pour black on top and I cover the whole canvas. So if you have any ideas, feel free to let me know in the notes below. But I'm inspired by a documentary I was watching last night on Iceland. I was there a couple years ago. It's a beautiful country, but this was showing all parts of the country that I didn't see. And I was inspired by the colors of a certain park. And of course, I couldn't tell you what it is because I can't pronounce it, but it was turquoise and rust and white. And those are going to be the colors I'm going to use on this pour that I'm going to start with in just a few minutes as soon as I get my canvas and head home. So guys, sit back and hopefully enjoy this video. And if this is your first time stopping by, please feel free to subscribe. It's free. It just allows me to meet and reach more people, as well as maybe meet some people. And yeah, it's free. Like, share, subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff. Okay guys, hold on and I'll show you my paints once we get settled. Okay guys, here I am back in my studio with my 36 by 36 canvas. And yeah, scraped the first pour. To be honest with you, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't quite right. So I apologize that I probably missed an opportunity, but we're gonna try something different. So given what I talked about in the previous segment about doing some colors that reminded me of Iceland, I have my coppers and my different colors of turquoise. And then I have this light color, which is going to be paired with the copper color because I wanted to lighten it up. And a little bit of white this time, not a whole lot of white. Most of these colors are hand mixed. The coppers, I added red and orange. This is basically 24 karat gold by Extreme Sheen with some yellow and some white. And of course the white is just basically Artist Loft Soft Body White. So there's my dump paint. That is 24 ounces basically of Artist Loft Soft Body Black. So I'm gonna do sort of a dump and swirl or blackout pour, trying to figure out what to call it. And I'm gonna start with white on the bottom and then just sort of layer. I'm gonna put the yellowish color, gold color with these colors. And yeah, we're gonna see how it goes. So I'm gonna get things set up here, making sure that the consistencies are correct, and we'll get pouring in just a moment. Hello, here we are back at the canvas. There are my beautiful colors on the side there. So my goal today was to try to create the color palette that I saw in a documentary video on Iceland. So even though I have some yellow and green, I wanted to use that against the blue to create some highlight. And so we'll see how that works out. So I had a 4-ounce cup of white paint that I wanted to put on the bottom. That way it sort of brightens up any of the paints that are semi-transparent or transparent. So I started with a sort of copper blend and then some yellow gold on top of that. And then I knew the greener color there, sort of the greenish turquoise, probably is going to mix with that yellow. So then just adding some of the other blue. Oh, there it is. And just a little bit of that white, about half a cup. And then the darker blue on top of that. And just going through the rest of the paints here and emptying the cups. I didn't have a complete plan of the order that I wanted to pour them. I was just sort of careful about which colors I paired together, because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't like all one color next to each other. I wanted to have some separation. That's why I used just a little bit of white in between some of these colors. I'm sort of doing a modified dump pour with sort of not just lightly pouring my paints out, sort of forcefully putting it down in hopes that it mixes a little bit and creates some interesting cells. Finishing off the rest of my paints and the last of the white. And last but not least, the rest of that sort of rust color. Which is nice. My canvas was perfectly level, as you can see. The paints moved out in all directions pretty evenly. Just double checking my consistency of my black paint. And again, wiping off my stir stick. I like to kind of clean up as I go because I don't want to sit in the room very much to see how things develop. So here we go. Now this, I almost poured exactly in the center, slightly off. But I'm going to do a little bit of a swirl because I wanted the paint to spread out and I wanted the black to cover all of the paint before I took it over the edges. This is a large canvas and can be quite heavy with all that paint. And yes, I do work on the floor, so maybe it makes it a little bit more complicated. So just sort of a gentle swirl. I did only do it once, and I brought it over that edge. And then brought it back a little bit and sort of made sure enough of the paint went over the edge because the black went over the color a little sooner than I liked. And then finally this last edge and corner. This was getting really heavy. I set it down there for a second at the corner, but I had to lift it back up and get it over that edge. So I do bring my paints back a little bit because I was in one direction, so I do tilt it in the opposite and then set it down in its tray. Now, I'm just going to let you know that I thought I did time-lapse again. I think there may be something wrong with my time-lapse on my phone here, but so there's not a time-lapse, but you can see as the color starts to come through, the blues and the yellows, I was getting a little bit excited there. And at this point, I figured this is going to be a great pour. So again, just sort of watching, cleaning up a little bit. And it's great to see the color just coming in. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to look, but let's take a look at the wet results. Hey guys, here I am. It's been about an hour, hour and a half or so. I am completely in love with this pour. I do have to say that I'm really kind of surprised because I thought that I hit the time lapse and I was pretty sure it was working. So I don't know what happened and I apologize for that because I really would have loved to see how this bubbled up. But anyway, I am completely in love with this pour. Now I want to say something about floetrol. Not all floetrol is the same. Now I use American floetrol. I get it from Home Depot or I order it on Amazon. What I received yesterday was on Amazon and that's what I used today. And sometimes the pearls aren't that great and it's the floetrol. It's not how I mix the paints because I do these pours over and over again. It's the floetrol. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what the difference is, but I'm very happy. So let me show you up close a little bit what we're looking at here. Now, I was hoping for my Icelandic look, but I didn't get the copper. It's a little bit in there, but the yellow, that sort of citrus color took over. I do have the turquoise, which is great. And that negative space is also pretty cool. Now, I did pour a little bit of black paint in there because I didn't want it to fill in completely, but I'm not really going to do anything with this except maybe just clean the edge. That's all. I'm not going to take out any pearls. I may trim back just a little bit, and I'll show you that when it's done. But look at the details up close. Now, I'm holding this phone very, very tightly because if I drop it, you're going to hear me cry. So just look at the pearls. That yellow and that blue. I have to say this is one of my favorite pours. The last pour I did was beautiful as well, but this one, there's something about it. It just is really dramatic and I'm quite happy. So I'm gonna let it dry overnight and I'll show you first thing in the morning how it looks. And if I do any touch-ups, I probably won't show you or do a time lapse because there's not a lot to do. And then we're done. This was quick, this was beautiful, and I'm really happy with it, and I hope you like it too. So hold on, I'll show you the dried results. Good morning, friends. How are you? Hope you had a great 2-second pause between each segment here. Here we are. It's all dry. It looks perfect to me. Yeah, I'm still really happy. I just want to reiterate what I'd mentioned a couple times in this video about floetrol. Not all floetrol is the same. I've really come to that conclusion based on just previous pours and previous bottles of floetrol, American floetrol, that I get different effects. This bottle tends to be great with helping to create these pearls with the white, sort of the green and turquoise color. So the wisps of the white here. I have to say it's one of my favorite paintings for some reason. I really, really like it. And I did this late at night. Something about late night pours tend to work really well with me. So I'm really happy about that. So the negative space is pretty much going to stay the way it is. I am going to maybe just fix the edge there, and that's about it. But there we have it. Can't ask for sort of a nice symmetry and a nice little curve. We'll see. We'll see what to name it. So guys, thanks for hanging out, and hope you have a happy new year. I'm not sure when I'll be back in the studio, maybe in a few days. I have some company coming into town, but I'll definitely post a video, and we'll see you soon.